Could artificial superintelligence take over from humans?
I think it is a possibility, and we should work very hard to make it not happen.
Are fears of an AI bubble overblown?
I probably expect somewhere in the order of a 10 to 15% correction sometime next year, but I don't think that we're going to see sustained levels of downturn.
And how is AI reshaping our workplaces and economy? Welcome to the summer edition of The Business and this special program on artificial intelligence. I'm Kirsten Aiken. Some are calling it the fourth industrial revolution. Others say it's the greatest moral and regulatory question of our time. Either way, artificial intelligence is fast becoming entrenched in all walks of life. We begin with Amelia Terzon's report on how businesses are using this technology.
Oh, good girl. It's okay.
Dr. Kara is spending more time with animals that she cares for as she leaves the administration up to an app.
We log in, we write the patient's name, and most importantly, we ask the client for consent to use AI to write the consult notes. Hi, I'm calling about Winston's blood results. I was wondering if you consent to using AI for me to write the consult notes for today. It's made my job so much easier, and I wouldn't want to go back to working without it.
Green Cross, which owns this practice, just did a deal with Heidi Health to roll it out nationally. The AI startup also has backing from investment firms like Blackbird.
We've been really fortunate to go through a number of rounds of funding. We'd have a couple of 100,000 users a week using Heidi in Australia.
The Tech Council's boss thinks the Australian AI industry is about to boom.
There are around 30,000 people whose main job, they wake up every day and they work on AI. We believe that gets to 200,000 by 2035 if we get the investment right.
Have you made an order from overseas agencies?
This startup is growing in size as it takes on contracts with Commonwealth Bank and TPG.
I truly believe in the power of AI and the way that we really can build so much on this.
Aparte develops chatbots that take on scammers.
Our inspection has found undeclared electronic devices. Is this some sort of joke, mate?
We call them the armies of bots, infiltrating and disrupting the networks of scammers. They're scamming the scammers themselves. Advanced conversational AI is really one key component of what we're building.
Aparte trained its chatbots by feeding real conversations between scammers and actors into a large language model. This is the same technology made famous by OpenAI's ChatGPT 3 years ago. That company is now in talks that would value it at US $500 billion. Other big global players include Claude's owner Anthropic, now valued at US $183 billion, and smaller players like Perplexity worth $18 billion. The value of computer chip maker Nvidia also recently passed $4 trillion US dollars.
We are just starting this next stage of the AI revolution, and that's being led by not just Nvidia, Microsoft, Palantir, and others. We don't believe this is a bubble. This is a fourth industrial revolution.
It absolutely is cultish. You could say that's why people suspect it's a bit of a bubble.
But the money keeps on flowing into this sector. Locally, Atlassian is also making billion-dollar plays in AI.
There is a huge focus here on who can develop AI and who can develop the fastest. And the question for Australia is, what is our piece of the pie here?
Up to 60% of large businesses here are now using artificial intelligence in some way, according to fresh analysis by JP Morgan, with the firm concluding that uptake is looking significant.
Hey Siri, search for OpenAI.
I found this on the web.
Belinda Barnett is one expert that is urging caution as the momentum builds.
I think they're selling themselves as the natural future, that we don't have much choice, it's coming at us and it's coming at us fast. One of the things that we should definitely do is keep the guardrails that we do have in place.
When it comes to implementation of current laws, we don't believe that AI needs necessarily different rules to what people expect.
Dali Kaffa hopes that his chatbot company becomes profitable in years to come.
We're weaponizing AI for good, and I think, Apate AI is really a very good example of how we can build AI models for the good and for the good of everyone.
As AI continues to infiltrate all parts of life.
Fans of artificial intelligence tout the potential productivity gains it offers in the workplace. But there are growing questions about whether it will also lead to a spike in unemployment, as Rihanna Whitson reports.
A white-collar bloodbath.
We are heading for a catastrophic employment crisis that no one is talking about.
Artificial intelligence is coming for your job. But will it replace you or simply help you work faster and smarter?
I think where we are is a dangerous place.
People need to certainly be very alert to the possibilities of AI.
Thousands of roles have been axed at heavily exposed companies, but only the Commonwealth Bank has listed AI as the driver.
It's like we were just disposable, like we were nothing.
A dedicated CBA employee for a quarter of a century, Catherine Sullivan spent the last 4 years working with the bank's AI chatbot.
I was excited for the new technology and the new ways to assist customers.
But then her role was made redundant.
I didn't realise that what I was doing was actually going to end up with me losing my job.
CBA denies AI is to blame for job cuts in Danushi Jayatuleka's department.
We've been waiting for the axe to fall. We taught the machine, and then due to productivity gains, headcount was taken out.
It's estimated 13% of jobs could be automated by 2050 and more than half helped by AI. Industries most at risk of automation are clerical and administrative roles, while logistics, manual labour and cleaning are least at risk.
The job losses that we're expecting from our study are not enormous. AI will improve productivity, which improves incomes and improves consumption. So there will be a lot of opportunities elsewhere in the economy.
Can you have a listen to his chest, please, and let me know what you find?
Sure.
The health sector is a growth area.
I can understand your frustration, Mary.
Here, AI is helping the next generation of physiotherapists learn how to deal with all sorts of patients.
So do you mind just telling me about when this all first started? I'm feeling pretty good about AI not taking my job anytime soon.
But this student is also aware of the risks AI poses.
I have talked to a few of my mates who are studying accounting and things like that, and there is definitely a possibility where AI takes over.
Unions are pushing for strong guardrails on AI, including mandatory worker consultation, job security, retraining guarantees and a national regulator. The Federal Treasurer says the government is working towards a sensible middle path to regulation.
Experts say Australia should look to the European Union's AI Act.
Guardrails are there that require some involvement of people on the ground in the workplace through their trade union representatives or other worker representatives in having some sort of say in how AI is being used.
CBA reversed its AI job cuts, but Catherine's still facing unemployment after turning down a role she says wasn't comparable to her old job.
I don't even know if I'm going to be able to work full time, so it's a little bit of a worrying time for me now.
A reality more of us could soon face.
The Australian Council of Trade Unions welcomed the government's long-awaited AI plan, which it released in December, with the ACTU praising its strong commitment to workers' rights. Business welcomed the government's decision not to impose mandatory guardrails for the adoption of AI. But how will the plan protect us from the potential harms of this advancing technology? Professor Nicholas Davis is the co-director of the UTS Human Technology Institute. Should the National AI Plan have included greater protections for Australians from the potential risks and harms of AI?
The plan contains, in its third section, quite a lot of commitment to protecting Australians. They say keeping Australians safe. And I guess the challenge is that the commitments are not enough. So it's not enough to say that the government will do, continue privacy reform. What's important is that the government puts that on the legislative agenda, that we see those reform packages which are designed, given how data hungry artificial intelligence is, that they actually do protect Australians in that way.
What regulation do we need?
Look, there's a raft mentioned in the plan. I think first off the rank, as it were, should be privacy. So artificial intelligence systems are hugely data hungry. They're used all around us every day in Australia, whether we're online or offline. And we as Australians have data protection and privacy that is woefully out of date internationally. So getting that right is the first step to keeping us safe. And there's many others like online safety and protections for children that are also mentioned that should be really at the top of the list.
Does the responsibility now lie with the AI Safety Institute to identify potential risks in real time and then persuade government to address them?
Not at all. The AI Safety Institute will play and should play a really important role in helping us understand better the risks that are out there, and particularly the new risks as they evolve. So risks like how AI agents, automated systems might travel around our financial system. But we already know most of the risks that are already affecting Australians today. AI is here. It's not something coming down the pipeline. So really part of the plan and the urgency for government is to actually just do what they've said.
So in the end, did big business and big tech win the argument that more regulation would kill the signal for investment in Australia?
I don't think so, but I do worry that that's the way the plan has been read. And I think that impression has been because one of the main alternatives that's been proposed was a big Australian AI Act, a kind of central regulatory function, a new way of regulating AI at the centre of Australian law at the federal level. And the government, and I think rightly in my opinion, decided that would actually be a really challenging way to continue because it would have duplicated a lot of the existing regulatory functions, and it would have pushed the kind of can down the road in terms of implementation. So instead they have focused on getting the law reform for current regulators and regulations and laws right.
Could we look at this from a different perspective? Could mandatory guardrails, as the government once considered, have provided some certainty for business as to how it could more quickly embrace artificial intelligence?
Mandatory guardrails is another option that the previous Albanese government, and when Ed Husic was Industry Minister, they were looking at. There's a lot to recommend mandatory guardrails in the fact that they actually set out very clear responsibilities for businesses across the board when they're dealing with AI systems, but they have a really key weakness. And that weakness is the technology is evolving very rapidly, and those guardrails are very hard to implement and determine for every type of use case. So instead what we have, which I think is very workable, is we have a set of voluntary standards and emerging standards that consumers and Australians can hold businesses to account. And then the law is the law of consumer protection, the law of copyright, the law of privacy. And I think that's a firmer place to stand.
So you don't think there's a cost to not having mandatory guardrails in place?
There would be a cost if the government does not continue and legislate in the way that it has said it would. So the worst of all worlds here is if everyone says we're satisfied with the plan, but we're not going to follow through on it. Following through is what keeps Australians safe, but it also does the other things. It helps us grasp the opportunities that are here.
The opportunities could extend beyond the current realms of possibility. Geoffrey Hinton is often referred to as the godfather of AI. A Nobel laureate in physics, he's also been awarded the AM Turing Award, sometimes called the Nobel Prize in Computing. He says it's not a matter of if, but when artificial superintelligence is coming. How intelligent is AI at this very moment?
At this very moment, it's probably less intelligent than the average person at doing general things, but much more intelligent than the average person at some specific things. And it also knows much, much more than the average person.
Meta's chief executive Mark Zuckerberg recently said he's seen glimpses of AI systems improving themselves. Is there any doubt that in time artificial superintelligence will be a reality?
Among the leading experts, they differ on when they think it will happen, but most of them believe it will happen. And the sort of consensus opinion among experts is between 5 and 20 years from now. A few people think it'll be faster, a few people think it'll be slower, a few people think it'll never happen. But most of the experts think between 5 and 20 years from now, we will have things much smarter than us.
For those of us who are only just appreciating how AI is already playing a role in our daily lives and the bigger role it is set to play, how will artificial superintelligence differ to the AI we're already using?
Well, there's some threats that come from artificial superintelligence that we don't have with what we're already using. So with what we're already using, there's many risks to do with bad actors using it for bad things, like cyber attacks or weapons or bioterrorism. They're all things where a person's in charge still. Once we have superintelligence, the question is, will it take over from us?
Plenty of people subscribe to those doomsday scenarios. Are you one of them? And do you think AI taking over the human race is a genuine possibility?
I'm not what they call a doomer. I don't think it's inevitable. I think it is a possibility, and we should work very hard to make it not happen. And we should be doing research now on how you would prevent them taking over. And my belief is we have to prevent them from wanting to take over. They'll be very intelligent. They'll be able to run rings around us. If you were working for a kindergarten full of 3-year-olds and they were in charge, it wouldn't be very difficult for you to take over from them. You just offer them free candy and you're done.
How do we research preventing AI from wanting to take over?
So at present, most people in the big tech companies think of AI like a very intelligent secretary. They think they want to be the boss. They've got this smart secretary who's much smarter than them. And that's the kind of relationship they want. I don't think that'll work. The only example I know of a more intelligent thing being controlled by a less intelligent thing is a baby controlling a mother. And that's because the mother has strong maternal instincts. And I think that's a model we should be thinking about. We're building these things. We're still in charge. Can we make AIs have strong maternal instincts towards us so they care about us more than they care about themselves?
What do you make of the race to get there first and the money being thrown at AI companies, one of which has recently reportedly been valued at $500 billion without turning a profit?
It's kind of very surprising to me. I think it's very surprising to everybody. I'm worried that there's a big race on. They're trying to get there first because they think they can make a lot of money if they get there first, and they're not very concerned with safety.
The other big worry that has emerged is whether the AI race has formed a bubble for investors. Several Wall Street titans have expressed concern, including JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon, who said he's worried about a big correction. Armina Rosenberg is co-founder of Minotaur, a tech-driven global equities fund. She told my colleague David Taylor she expects volatility, but a crash isn't likely.
I think the adoption cycle is hard to ascertain over the next call it medium term, so next 2 to 3 years. So I think you'll see swings and roundabouts there. I probably expect somewhere in the order of a 10 to 15% correction sometime next year, but I don't think that we're going to see sustained levels of downturn. I think you're going to see that go back up.
In the event of a crash or even just underperformance of one or two main players, could that spark a contagion through the entire sector?
I think that what you'll see is the market start to be more discerning around which AI software plays are better than others.
Data centres are powering the AI race, and local businesses are vying to secure their place on the scene. One of the biggest challenges facing these companies is energy. Given forecasts, data centres could make up to 6% of all electricity demand within 5 years. Macquarie Technology Group completed the structure of a new data centre in North Sydney in December. I spoke to CEO David Tudehope.
I'm in the high-vis vest because today we did the topping out ceremony for our new data centre here at Macquarie Park. This is a very significant investment. It's focused on being as power efficient as possible because we're moving computers out of people's offices and homes and putting that compute power as well as new AI workloads inside these large-scale data centres that use the minimum amount of power for the compute.
But what does that mean? Is it powered by renewable energy?
We have all sorts of power coming into both renewable as well as legacy network. For us, it's a big investment. We've spent tens of millions of dollars on power infrastructure into this site to make sure that that power is available. And it's about really shifting that efficiency piece. And that's really what's the foundations of our economics.
Is energy a stumbling block for a bigger build-out of AI in Australia, given data centres are energy intensive and Australia is already having trouble balancing supply and demand?
I'm more confident about energy availability maybe than some others.
Why?
Yeah, the reason for that is there's been a lot of speculative action by property developers putting power applications in for sites with no intention of building a data centre, just to create the potential that maybe someone might pay more for their block of land. And that's distorting some of the demand summaries you see. We think the actual real AI demand driving data centres is a fraction of all these speculative applications, and we think as a result it will fit within the capacity of the government's plans for the energy network.
Tell me why you're considering selling your majority stake in the company you founded.
Yeah, it's interesting. What's norm in the US and Europe is that data centre operators, when they finish their data centre campuses and sell the capacity, they typically involve pension funds or superannuation funds or insurance companies as the long-term holders. Because what we're building here at Macquarie data centres is a 30 to 50-year asset. And so you're looking for investors that have long-term liabilities to their policyholders or the retirees, and they want to match it up with long-term assets. So that's why we're a natural fit.
A lot has been written recently about circular financing of AI infrastructure. Are you nervous it might not pay off?
Look, I think there's many different models in terms of people investing in AI, and I think probably others are better to speak about which ones are going to be successful and sustainable. I think what is certain though is as people adopt AI, that'll be in many different forms. It'll be the software providers adding AI to their software. It'll be government agencies looking to use AI to better serve citizens and corporates similarly. It'll also be people who are new companies starting out with AI. There's going to be a whole range of demand, and of course there'll always be in any market like this speculative investment as well.
David Tudehope, thank you.
Thank you very much.
When it comes to big investment dollars, billionaire Atlassian co-founder Scott Farquhar says Australia needs to seize the moment to become the data centre hub for Southeast Asia.
I think there's a great opportunity for us to go out to governments in the region and attract their investment to build data centres in Australia, to go to the hyperscalers on a global level and get them to build these data centres in Australia. I think this is a $10 billion plus opportunity for us, and we talk a lot about attracting direct foreign investment, and so this money is here.
And as artificial intelligence reshapes the way we work, Daniel Ziffer takes a look at whether Elon Musk is right in calling for universal basic income.
Enjoying a drink and time with friends could become more commonplace as artificial intelligence threatens to rapidly change millions of jobs.
AI is not only a coming but also a reality.
People are going to lose their jobs and we're going to have to find a way through the transition.
An obligation-free payment could provide the safety net we need.
If we could have a universal basic income, it's a bet that we can provide meaningful lives to all our citizens.
Billionaire Elon Musk believes it's inevitable.
I don't think we're going to have a choice.
And we have a recent example of why we might need it.
Shutting down. Victoria closes all pubs, clubs and gyms while police set up a new coronavirus task force.
Researcher Ben Spies-Butcher says government support during the pandemic was a natural experiment of how a universal basic income could work.
It proved that we could do it because we actually did it.
When COVID forced people to stay home, between 3.6 and 4 million Australians were supported by the JobKeeper payment. A further 2.2 million, who received some form of welfare, had their income essentially doubled by the coronavirus supplement. At one point, A huge proportion of the adult population was getting a regular, obligation-free payment, which cost nearly $110 billion.
Creating a base that everyone can access without any barriers is really important for a world where things are changing really rapidly, and also where the kinds of risks people are exposed to are changing as well.
Elise Klein and her colleagues found some poverty rates fell from 67% to just 7% when the extra benefits were received, which enabled people to enter the labour market.
That it had huge psychological impacts that helped people feel, that they had dignity again.
The momentum behind universal basic income increased during COVID, when we all learned just how precarious our links to employment can be. With AI, it's back again. But as with all big economic ideas, the big question is, who's going to pick up the tab?
I feel like there's a lot that could be done to automate society and make it that we're less reliant on labour, but we can't do that unless people aren't scared of it.
There have been more than 160 global studies of UBI in recent decades, involving varying amounts of money.
The biggest one is actually Give Directly in Kenya. That's going on for 12 years and it's working with 20,000 Kenyans over 200 villages.
Preliminary results show huge improvements in people's lives, with fewer child deaths, lower domestic violence and increased local economic activity. But research on UBI doesn't convince everyone.
What we're not looking at is the costs and the downsides that would come from spending hundreds of billions of dollars.
Humans have long feared machines taking their jobs.
8 years ago, the ABC investigated the possibility of a universal basic income as a response to the rise of machines. Simon Cowen appeared in this report and hasn't changed his view.
Look, if anything, it's probably confirmed some of my scepticism about UBI.
He points to studies showing people withdrawing their superannuation under emergency provisions and spending a lot of it on gambling, alcohol and takeaway food.
There's nothing inherently wrong with that, but from the perspective of a policy reform, particularly an enormously expensive one, it's hard to imagine that there's a strong societal benefit.
The machines are getting smarter and changing society. We might have to make changes as well.
Thanks for watching this summer special of The Business. The 2026 season returns on ABC News and ABC TV on Monday, February 2nd. The team can't wait to bring you more of the biggest stories in business, the economy and markets. In the meantime, check out our other summer business specials on ABC iView. See you soon.